he suggests for breakfast, do a high protein, a high fat breakfast like eggs, avocado, veggies, or a protein shake. That way you are staying full and you're not having, say, a banana or something that peaks your sugar level and then you crash later. And again, I am summarizing it from an amateur's vocabulary and perspective. So all you nutrition people who have studied this a lot, just bear with me. But I know I have the general concept down, but I might use different words that aren't in place, that shouldn't be there. So that's breakfast. Lunch is, again, high protein, meats, eggs, lots of vegetables. He suggests eating lighter for lunch, limiting or not even having carbs, as you've noticed, for breakfast or lunch, because he says the carbs make you feel more full and you can get more lethargic. So on your salad, stay away from croutons or creamy dressings and instead get like a vinaigrette or an olive oil. And then for dinner, he's like, you know what, and enjoy your dinner. And he said most people suggest not having carbs for dinner, but it can help you sleep, he says, because it makes you more lethargic and it can actually be a sleep aid. So he suggests for dinner, have a carb, a protein, and a vegetable. And so what I've changed from my diet for the last week is, instead of oatmeal, which I would have for breakfast, I've had a protein shake, and it's a chocolate protein shake, so it's delicious. And you know what, Theo? It's in this mug that you and your wife gave me.
That's awesome.
Dad, the legend mug. I don't drink coffee, and so I was like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this mug whenever he gave it to me. But Colleen, my wife, brought in the shake with the mug, and she's like, well,
That's really funny.
if you're talking to Theo today, show him the mug that you're drinking on the mug. Like, so thank you, Theo, for this mug, and thank you, Nate, for the insight. He also said, when you first wake up, have a bunch of water. And I said, I got that box checked, Nate. I have a liter of water with a scoop of wheatgrass every day when I wake up. And he's like, good job, Joe. And I pat myself on the back. And so those are his tips. Theo, you used to be really heavy in CrossFit. You used to be like the golden child of CrossFit, and you're really strong and athletic. So what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, when I saw this in the outline, I was excited to talk about nutrition. I mean, I entirely agree with everything he said. The biggest thing, the biggest takeaway out of this, for sure, as you want to realize, and this kind of goes against what we learned growing up, for sure, is the carb question. And obviously, and again, all this really depends on how much you're actually working out. So if you're working out like a ton, then you're going to need to eat more carbs than someone who's not necessarily working out like at all, or if their workout just consists of walking. Because back when I was doing CrossFit, like insanely, I did the keto diet. And so I would say, like, I don't do it now, but I should. I think for just like the normal person, the keto diet's amazing, especially if you're trying to be very efficient with your time, because you don't need to eat as much. But I'll go into that in a second. But yeah, you don't want to eat carbs for definitely not for lunch. For breakfast, it's not as big of a deal, but for lunch, you've already been awake for a while, and most people, when they get that like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock crash, it's because of what they ate for lunch. It's because of all those carbs. And the way carbs work is just quick energy up, quick energy down, whereas protein and fat are a lot slower. So it's more like of a consistent burn. So a consistent energy. So that's like a two. For dinner, make sure, and you've got this on here, you didn't mention it. For dinner, you want to avoid, and just in general, avoid sugars. Like I was having a conversation with someone last night, how he lost 65 pounds, and literally the only thing he changed was cutting out sugars. He didn't work out. He was very overweight, but he stopped working out. He didn't work out at all. All he did was cut out sugars. Wow. So if you want to, if you're kind of overweight and you want to lose, a large amount of weight, and you don't necessarily want to have to, work out for an hour a day, if you just cut out sugars, like cut out sugary drinks, desserts, things like that, you'll be fine. But I did want to mention the keto diet really quick. So it's like kind of like a newer fad type diet, I guess. Because people talk about it a lot in the news now, but essentially it's like 80% fat, like 15% protein, and like 5% carbs. And again, as Joe mentioned, I'm not a nutritionist, neither are you. So this is just from what I've researched. But essentially, you convert your body from being a carb burner to a fat burner. So rather than burning carbohydrates, so burning glucose, you burn fat, ketones instead. And I did this diet for a month. And again, I was working out an insane amount, so it's not good if you're working out for like 3 hours a day like I was. But I would literally drink a bulletproof coffee for breakfast, which is just coffee. Say coffee, some sort of like oil you buy, butter, heavy cream. I would drink that, and I wouldn't eat again until like 2 or 3 o'clock at night, or 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd have like a lunch, and then I wouldn't eat again until dinner. And so I could literally work from, I woke up to 2 o'clock without having to stop. And the way that you feel, like everything is, you feel a lot different. You're very energized. Everything's super clear. It's kind of like a euphoric feeling. Now I got really sick because I didn't do it. I didn't do it properly. If you don't completely convert your body to burning the ketones, then your body's going to keep looking for carbs, and since you're not eating any, you're gonna get sick. It's called the keto flu. Plus, the amount I was working out, I needed the actual carbs for those faster workouts, so I stopped doing it. But I've kind of been slowly reintroducing it now, just because I remember how good I felt and how energized I was. So if you're interested in that, if you just Google keto, you can look up. You can read it. I'm gonna try to find the book before we get off when you start talking again that I read about it. That kind of goes over exactly how it works, and then why you should do it, and then how to actually do it, and some things you need to buy, like these little strips you pee on to make sure you've got the ketones in your body and things like that.
And just for the record, since we, this conversation did get into nutrition, I mean, my personal belief is eating more plants is always the better approach than anything else. That's my personal belief based on other stuff I've read. Have alkalizing your body and having more of a plant-based diet. So that's my belief, and that's what I think is the best. Like salad over other stuff. Like have more greens and then have some meat and then whatever else. But that's anyway. So those are my thoughts on it. But everyone's got different stuff, and certain things work for certain people. And now I'm in territory that I know not a whole lot about.